Do you think that it's I don't want to cut you off, but do you think it's easier to be in the offense or the defense? And I'm gonna like tie that into like boxing and being a lawyer.
Yeah. It depends on who I'm fighting.
Right.
Some guys I don't want to lean in.
Right.
Because I know they're gonna get over their skis and I'll just catch them on.
Yeah.
I'll pull them.
Because sometimes somebody might overexert. Wait till they tired or something. You know what I'm saying? And then
At least miss.
You feel me?
At least miss. Make them miss. Make them pay.
Sometimes
Now in court, that brings up a whole different issue, because and you're asking the question as a criminal defense attorney?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all,
I like how he just slid that in there. Like, I'm not just only.
Right.
He slid that in there like, I'm not only just criminal, just like.
What hat you want me to wear?
Yeah, like.
yeah, and
it's more to me.
The reason I'm saying it like that is because as a criminal defense attorney, like by my definition, I'm on defense. Right? But as a personal injury attorney, we are the plaintiff. We are moving forward. We have the burden of proof. We're pure offense now.
See you later, Blanco.
And even within that situation, though, we have to cross-examine the defense's witnesses, and it usually is in the form of an expert. And that, even though you're bringing the case, you're defending, you're cross-examining. That's more essence of defense. As a criminal defense attorney, I think that your point still holds. I think you can approach it in a very defensive way, or you can approach it in an offensive way in some ways. And, one key element of a criminal trial, and you'll hear a judge charge the jury. Charge the jury means when they instruct the jury. Yeah. The defense has no burden of proof. In a criminal trial, the prosecutor bears the burden to prove each and every element of each and every crime beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what the judge tells the jury at the end of the case. We talk about it during our openings and closings. But sometimes there could be points that you feel like you can be so strong on that if you can actually prove those points to the jury, your proving of those points defends. So the offense creates a defense. Right. Other times you don't have anything that strong.
The offense creates a defense.
You heard that
That's
bar?
what my trainer says.
And that happens in boxing all the time.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All the time.
That happens in boxing all the time.
One good hit, boom, all right, hold on.
But it happens in court.
Yeah, because if you push too much on something, or like you force on something, at some point you're gonna have to defend.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's where you come in with the wild card.
Sometimes you get an answer and you're like, oh, I never heard that answer. But that answer helps us. That answer helps us. And now you go on the offensive.
That's a very high pressure environment. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because at least with sports, like at some degree, you're having fun. I mean, maybe not for a lawyer. Maybe
he having fun with it. Pete sound like he be having fun with it. He wake up, got his little music when he getting dressed. He like, oh yeah, I'm about to win a case today. I'm about to win a case today.
Get my cufflinks.
Ladies and gentlemen.
In some ways, that's absolutely correct. But I only feel like it's that preparation that puts me in a position to feel like I could go have fun with it. Because when you know that there is no way that anyone in that courtroom knows more than you, or that they might be as prepared as you, but they're not more prepared. Right. When I know that there's nobody in that courtroom that is more prepared than me, it's easy to sort of take some of that pressure, because it's there. You're 100% right. But you're able to sort of just absorb it, channel it. I try to turn the pressure into an energy.
He uses it.
That same shit applies for me with boxing.
Yeah, you got
exactly. Like
you have to,
because you could train as much as me, but you're not gonna train more than me. You're not gonna be more prepared in a fight than I am.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you may be just as prepared, but you're never gonna be prepared more than me. I'm not allowing that.
Cause like maybe like a few episodes ago against
English.
Yeah. We was talking to Ant after his first pro fight.
Yep.
And I was asking him, like, has it ever been a time that, like, you walked into your fight and felt nervous? He was like, no, like, I'm always ready.
Is the nervous feelings be more so?
Yeah, like
before,
you said, like before, but like the day of is not like he's sitting there like getting cold sweats or cold feet and stuff like that. So like, has it been a time where like, okay, trial is today. It's the last day of trial. All the evidence is out. The jury has to make a decision. Has there been a time where you walked in like, damn, I don't know what's about to go on?
Yeah. Well, in that circumstance, I feel that way all the time. Because at that time, because that's when all the evidence is in, closing arguments are done, the judge either just did or is about to what they call charge the jury. That's read the jury charges so they know what it is that they're supposed to do, what they're not supposed to do, what they're supposed to consider, what they're not supposed to consider. Once all that's done, essentially all the work and preparation that I did, I take all of it and I pack it back up into my bag and I put it back there and I turn around to my client and I say, listen, I just want you to know I gave you everything. I hope you're satisfied with this job that I did, and I wish you the very, very best of luck. And the case is, it's out of my hands, it's out of the judge's hands, it's out of my client's hands, it's out of the witness's hands.
It's all on the jury.
The jury, they may come back and forth with a few questions or want to get, a lot of times they ask to see the video again or hear the testimony of someone again. But for the most part, and that's a bad feeling for me, like, because we like to be in control.
That's a.
I got to pack it in. I'm done. And that's hard to accept. I was in control of the whole case. The prosecutor was in control of the whole case. The judge had some control over the case. But not anymore, because they go into that room.
Yeah, sitting there.
Yeah.
Who said the line, I'd rather be carried by 6? No, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Mad people.
Roddy Rich.
That's a recycled line.
Yeah, it is Roddy Rich. So yeah. But like he said, at that point, you sitting there nervous, you looking like
It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Nothing you can do
what
at that
the
point.
jury is about to say on your life depends on it.
I would say that I'm more nervous and it impacts me more then than when I'm up there.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to prepare for that.
Right.
Yeah, because
You're nervous for your client.
when you're making an argument, you have like a certain type of confidence, a certain type of bravado when you speaking, because you're trying to be persuasive to like whoever you're speaking to. So now when you sit there and you can't speak, it's like you're gonna still show that energy, but you're the final call.
They make the choice. They make the decision.
What about in the case where the opposing team, you felt as though who they were representing, have you ever felt like you were in danger because of a case?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, witnesses.
All that type of shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my second murder case.
Man, shit just got real.
Second.
My second murder
Shit
case
just got real.
happened in
Ladies and gentlemen.
the year 2000. Case was crazy.
And that was when the streets was crazy. 2000 murder case?
Crazy.
Sheesh.
And my client was charged with 3 homicides.
Oh, shit.
One of them was homicide. One of them,
Quit playing.
and he shot this kid.
Seriously?
It was like a turf battle in Patterson, and after he shot him. It was a very bad case for the defense because he shot him in front of a lot of people on Main Street.
Damn.
You can't even make it up. Main Street,
Yeah.
I shot him in front of 50 people on. Anyway, So anyway, after that shooting, this kid tries to take off, and he does take off, and he gets chased. He gets chased down. They finally kind of catch him. A group catches him on a corner, and he turns and starts firing again, and he kills another kid.
Damn.
And then he gets away from that, and then he ran into the, at the time, it was Madison Ave Diner, they got him in a bathroom. Somehow this kid comes out firing out of there, kills another kid, and gets out of there. And then he runs down and jumps on a bus on Route 80, however he got on the bus, and ends up at Grand Central Station in the city and gets out of the state. So that's my case.
So they found
that's a
mission on
crazy second
GTA.
case.
So
yeah, I'm just trying to like.
that's the
Shit
case.
sound like a movie.
Something ain't
His
right.
life was.
Power Book 3.
At that point, I'm like, I don't know if I should take this. Like,
At this point, I'm just like, brother, you need some help.
Like,
So in
you
that
made this
case,
worse.
the victims were from fairly prominent South Patterson families, and they were in full force at this trial. Like this trial, there was like extra security outside the courtroom. Like, you know, when you come into the courthouse and you go through security, they set up one of those machines outside the courtroom.
Outside the
courtroom. So they had
Imagine the shooting in the courtroom, crazy, bro.
They had no other trials on those floors. There's 4 courtrooms. They had no other trials on those floors. So, and my wife, this was very early in my career, and Resigliano, my partner Bill Resigliano, was my partner then. My wife came. We had 2 young kids at the time. She came, and it was the first time she came to court to see me. And one of the victims' fathers got up there, and he testified on direct. He was questioned by the prosecutor, and I didn't even really get going or anything on cross. And the truth is, there was really very little that I was going to cross-examine him on. I had a couple questions about where they lived. You know, there was an argument about this kid was friends with another kid, and that was sort of important to how I was trying to listen. We were gonna lose on one murder. I was dead. But on the other 2, I was arguing self-defense. They can't. My argument was you can't kill him because he killed him twice.
yeah.
So the prosecutor didn't want to give it to us. The prosecutor wanted life with 60. That's 2 murders.
Oh,
I wanted life with 30. I said, look, he's 20 years old. Do 30 years. It's life with 30. We'll take the murder.
Come out at 50.
Come out at 50. The kid might have a chance.
That's still a long
The prosecutor
ass
said
time.
no. So I went to trial to get that, essentially, is what I was trying to do. So I'm questioning this victim's father.
I'm not taking that to trial.
And this-
Three bodies to
To
trial?
motherfucking trial.
Clearly, what? All right, cool. From
Well,
hearing him talk,
However, P hard.
hearing him talk, I would have been that motherfucker like.
P, take it to trial.
Let's go. Let's do
Hey
this.
Siri, play "Take It to Trial" by Young
Take
Thug.
shit to motherfucking trial.
Siri really just played the song.
Find Take It to Trial.
But yeah, so continue with this great story.
This is nuts.
So with the father on the stand, I think I literally asked him, you know, sir, you live at this address. Your son lived at that address with you. Your son was friends with this other individual. And I'm just asking that. And this guy jumps up, calls me the devil, and literally grabs a microphone like this.
The father?
The father. He calls me the devil, and he throws the microphone as if he's trying to throw the microphone at me, and the microphone is connected by wire on the other side of the judge. Everything went into a box, which was a recording.
Yeah.
That's how they made the record.
Yeah.
It's all, I think it's more digital now, but back then everything was wired up. And so the microphone hits the judge. The sheriff's officers storm the courtroom.
Oh, yeah, they
the
snatched him.
judge goes down and they bring him right into the chambers. They put this guy down. Like, it was incredible. And I'm like, just.
Imagine the gas.
You need to leave.
So everybody was like making threats on me and threats on. So my wife was there. She goes back to the office. My office was not that far from the court. She's like, Bill, what does he do? What does he do every day? He's like, what happened? Then they call the office. They're like, Festa's a target. And, you know, you know what? I never got overly concerned about it. I graduated from Kennedy High School in Paterson, New Jersey. You could threaten me all you want.
Yeah.
P said, I'm about this.
No problem.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be in here. We can go do it out there. It's okay. That's like my first instinct. I think a little differently now at 55. You know, like any of us, I'm not the man I used to be.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, that I was in there. I had a wife and 2 kids, and I chose to be a criminal lawyer, and I took that case, and they paid me, and I got to go.
Yeah.
And so I did. I'll tell you how I opened in that case, right? How you were just saying, oh, you took it to trial, like I would never take it to trial. You know what I said on my opening statement? I stood up, first thing I said, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Peter Festa, and I'm representing the defendant in this case. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here. And I'm going to start my opening statement. My client's guilty of murder.
What?
The judge, I heard the judge like drop a book.
Boy dropped his pen. Oh!
Drop the gavel.
I said, but ladies and gentlemen, he's guilty of 1 murder. And I'm going to show you that he's guilty of that murder. And I'm going to show you that the state failed to prove that he's guilty of the other 2. And that took the gas off. But you know what that did? That connected me with that jury.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was dead honesty.
Yeah.
And I had to do that in a case like that. Like, why are you going to trial? And how do you, well, when you start it that way, the prosecutor did a great, they go first on opening and they go last because it's their burden of proof, you know.
Right.
They do their closing argument last. He got up and he's telling them about all the evidence and all this. I got up and said he's guilty of murder. I wiped out everything that he said. I said, just trust me. I said, I'm gonna argue these issues. I'm gonna look at these things. I'm gonna question the witnesses. I want you to evaluate the witnesses. I said, but I'm gonna come back to you at the end of this case, and I'm going to confirm with you that he's guilty of murder. But you're going to confirm with me that he's not guilty of 2. That was it.
That's very interesting.
And we did the case, and that's exactly how the case came out.
Did you?
Nah, you the man, bro.
That's how the case came out.
Yeah.
He's the
That
man.
was only my second case.
Y'all lost or y'all won?
No, you won. You won.
We got guilty
got
of
30.
one count of murder, and we were not guilty on the other 2.
Yeah. All right, man. Make sure you subscribe, because I know y'all watching this right now. Subscribe, like, share, all that shit, man.
Listen to your mama, your baby mama, all that shit.
All that shit.
Your grandmother. Shouts out to Nancy Reagan. Shouts out to the Throat Goat.
That's kind of wild, but all right.